invoking Gilbert's magnetism only to squeeze them to the ellipses his calculations had revealed. A wild Rubens blend of the ideal and empirical, Kepler staggeringly reckoned from Brahe's observations the three enduring laws, meanwhile juggling the ratios, roots, and powers of planetary size, mass, intercept, motor virtue, of which he could know nothing, trying to bring the orbits and archetypal reason into line, stamped with the adornment of harmonic proportions. In music, Praetorius affects such a vast synthesis of Gothic and Venetian, polyphony and recitative. We take a phrase from his setting of Luther's Vom Himmel hoch. Rubens' Rapt Angel of 1609 marks the divide to inertial mass. Up to that point, the material search itself had swirled with trans-reality. El Greco's 1570 Boy lighting a candle, the night climax of Bruno's Candelaio, or even the porter in Macbeth. If a man were porter of hell gate, he should have old turning the key. Knock, 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 who's there in the name of Beelzebub? Drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things. Marry, sir, nose painting, sleep, and urine. So Bruno's compatriot, Nola, choirmaster at Naples, limns three blind beggars singing for alms. By the turn of the century, Caravaggio has put such realism on the shore where Ben Jonson's Fox and Alchemist make it lawful prey, Volpone's clever Mosca to the doddering deaf Corbaccio. Mosca: You're very welcome, sir. Corbaccio: How does your patron? Troth, as he did, sir. No amends. What? Mends he? No, sir, he is rather worse. That's well. Where is he? Up on his couch, sir, newly fallen asleep. I have brought him an opiate here, from mine own doctor. 'Tis but to make him sleep. Volpone playing sick. Aye, his last asleep, if he would take it. Mosca: He has no faith in physic. I often have heard him protest that your physician should never be his heir. Not I, his heir? Not your physician, sir. Oh, no, I do not mean it. How does his apoplex? Is that strong on him still? Most violent. His speech is broken, and his eyes are set, his face drawn longer than 'twas wont. How? Stronger than he was wont? No, sir, his face drawn longer than 'twas wont. Oh, good. His mouth is ever gaping, and his eyelids hang. Good. A freezing numbness stiffens all his joints, and makes the color of his flesh like lead. Good symptom still. Sure, I shall outlast him.
New masses, new lily white masses, hot codlins hot, new cockles, new great cockles, new great spreads, new great rams, new fresh herrings.
Marvelous, the comic vigor as that delight in the actual and its castigation strikes root in the north. Fantasies on street cries, Wilkes, Deering, this Gibbons, the overflow of the Jacobean stage up to the Puritan closure, a chaste maid in Cheapside, a trick to catch the old one, the boiling kermesse of Johnson's Bartholomew Fair, 1615, though with vignettes as sharply focused as this Latour fortune-teller, locket-cutter, gypsy thieves. I would fain see that cut-purse you talk of, says Johnson's silly coax in the play, while Nightingale, the ballad singer, draws the crowd. Trash, will your worship buy any gingerbread? Leatherhead, the toy man, fat Ursula, mooncalf, and all, so that Edgeworth, his accomplice, can pluck the dandy clean. As in the picture, a man might cut out his kidneys and he never feel 'em.
Man or woman can tell any tidings of the grey mare with a long mane and a short tail.
Again the 1610 transition. From El Greco's giddy perspectives, or in Shakespeare, the dread summit of the chalky bourne, imagined from the flat stage of Lear. There is a cliff whose high and bending head looks fearfully in the confined deep. Bring me but to the very brim of it. Edgar, how fearful and dizzy 'tis to cast one's eyes so low. I'll look no more, lest my brain turn, and the deficient sight topple down headlong. Through the visions of the so-called Montsou, eddies of nightmare formed under the jets of Baroque reality, yet reality takes the lead. To Rubens' ruins of the Palatine, so Webster's Duchess congeals the electric malice of Lear to a brooding earth presence. Summoning the echo with which Monteverdi had answered Orfeo's Ai pianto.
Ai pianto.
And guai.
A tanti guai.
Webster. Yon's the cardinal's window. This fortification grew from the ruins of an ancient abbey, and to yon side of the river lies a wall, piece of a cloister, which in my opinion gives the best echo that you ever heard, so hollow and so dismal, and withal so plain in the distinction of our words, that many have supposed it is a spirit that answers. I do love these ancient ruins. We never tread upon them, but we set our foot upon some reverend history. But all things have their end. Churches and cities, which have diseases like to men, must have like death that we have. Like death that we have. Now the echo hath caught you. It groaned, methought, and gave a very deadly accent. Deadly accent. I told you 'twas a pretty one. You may make it a huntsman, or a falconer, a musician, or a thing of sorrow. A thing of sorrow. Aye, sure, that suits it best. That suits it best. 'Tis very like my wife's voice. Aye, wife's voice. I would not have you go to the cardinal's tonight. Do not. Do not. Echo, I will not talk with thee, for thou art a dead thing. Thou art a dead thing. My Duchess is asleep now, and her little ones, I hope sweetly. O heaven, shall I never see her more? Never see her more. I marked not one repetition of the echo but that, and on the sudden a clear light presented me a face folded in sorrow. This Caravaggio face is from his 1608 beheading of John, where the villainy which had fascinated the Renaissance assumes the weight of body. So the tragedy of revenge from Kyd, O life, no life, but lively form of death, to Webster. My soul, like to a ship in a black storm, is driven I know not whither. Let the content and structure of the sonnet attest that upheaval of values. Nothing was ever simple, but one pole of mannerism was the balance treasured from Renaissance, the fitting of matter to form, perfect in this Parmigianino, as in Surrey, Spenser, early Shakespeare, the end-stopped claspings of sonnet rhyme. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wander'st in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. The other mannerist pole is the outbreak of wild alchemical force. Beccafumi's 1524 Fall of the Rebel Angels, Renaissance Gothic aimed through El Greco at Blake, while Shakespeare's Crisis wrenches the syntax of the sonnet almost to the sprung stress of Hopkins. The expense of spirit in a waste of shame is lust in action, and till action lust is perjured, murderous, bloody, full of blame, savage, extreme, rude, cruel, not to trust, enjoyed no sooner but despised straight, past reason hunted, and no sooner had, past reason hated as a swallowed bait, on purpose laid to make the taker mad, mad in pursuit and in possession so, having, and in quest to have extreme, a bliss in proof, and proved a very woe, before a joy proposed, behind a dream. All this the world well knows, yet none knows well to shun the heaven that leads men to this hell. In Rubens, the fire frenzy conglomerates, a saturation point as earthly engrossment heightens the violence of salvation. Michelangelo had felt it, rend the veil, break down the wall, squarch il veil tu, signor, rompi quel muro. Even Ariosto had toyed with the fallen need of force. To render pity to hearts penitent is ours below. To draw them up with love, maugre their own will, is God's above. Now as world nature thickens toward Descartes, the impossible stretch for a God whelmed in bulk, as though heaven suffered earthquakes, peace or war done, curdles in judgment paradox. At the round earth's imagined corners blow your trumpets, angels, and arise, arise from death, you numberless infinities of souls, and to your scattered bodies go, all whom the flood did and fire shall o'erthrow, all whom war, dearth, age, agues, tyrannies, despair, law, chance hath slain. Conscious rhetoric buckling the pentameter. As at the forge of Rubens, Donne violates the sonnet for a salvation conceived as rape. Batter my heart, three-personed God, for you as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me, and bend your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. I, like an usurped town to another due, labor to admit you, but oh, to no end. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captived, and proves weak or untrue. Yet dearly I love you, and would be loved fain, but am betrothed unto your enemy. Divorce me, untie, or break that knot again. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste, except you ravish me. By mid-century, the chromatic in Matthew Locke moves under brooding control, while with blind Milton, the sonnet has passed its crisis. Renaissance articulation convolves into the vaulted reach of consciousness. When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God the exact day labor light denied, I fondly ask. But patience to prevent that murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly, thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait. As darkened as Rembrandt, neglected in gathering age, yet as deeply sure of self, ordered earth and causal God, Descartes' lonely doubter, who closes his meditations qu'il y a un Dieu, et qu'il n'est point trompeur. And I ought not to doubt the truth of these presentations, for since God is no deceiver, it follows necessarily that I am not herein deceived. Under the great assertive thrust, by which the faith postulates have moved into time, making their peace with thinking self and causal world, an entire realm of human and earthly good is as quietly assured as the lights on Rembrandt's Titus reading. Perhaps Elsheimer, in Caravaggio's Rome, first took the glow of that transcendental paradise, where Tobias is guided by the angel, a promise Gibbons harmonizes in a 1623 song of the church, "O my love, how comely now." How humbly Poulenburg takes it up, twin guardians of natural childhood, angel and saint, while Herbert, from his rural parish, sounds the quietest benediction. Sweet day, so cool, so calm, so bright, the bridal of the earth and sky, the dew shall weep thy fall tonight, for thou must die. Sweet rose, whose hue angry and brave bids the rash gazer wipe his eye, thy root is ever in its grave, and thou must die. Sweet spring, full of sweet days and roses, a box where sweets compacted lie, my music shows ye have your closes, and all must die. Only a sweet and virtuous soul, like seasoned timber, never gives, but though the whole world turn to coal, then chiefly lives. The Baroque arose out of Renaissance and Humanism. However the grand manner vaunt the inflations of creed and court, its caudal and spatial loyalties were to the temporal good. Beyond the mammoth holies Bernini applied to St. Peter's lay the Rome, where the landscape of recovery spread from Elsheimer and Carracci to Domenichino, Poulenburg, this early Claude. So the fortissimo of Monteverdi's exultant Celi cradles his tenderest O Maria in an epiphany of power and heart.